Take Oh, that's a high def screen. That's pretty clear.
I mean, Evan is. Oh. Oh, I told Sherry it didn't work. She just jumped in. Okay. I'm gonna have to say, got it, user error.
Who are the two that are on, the host and Sherry?
Yeah,
Okay.
she says I was able to join. Where's our fearless leader? She says, I'm getting off now. There she goes.
Maybe Evan saw that it was only up 0.28% and decided not to come in today.
No, he texted me.
He's on his way, right? Yeah.
So I just got I thought this was Evan texting him, but it was my wife. All you married guys will appreciate this. Sauce on the stove. Please heat it up when you get home. Yoga till 5:30. See? That's what 38 years of marriage does to you, okay? Oh, God. Evan, where are you? All right. Give him 30 minutes. At 4:05, one of you guys can take over. You have a quorum.
I know. I was thinking like, who's vice chair? I think you technically have seniority done, or
I guess.
new word to the committee. We have a very clear agenda anyway, so.
So these are going to town council on next week?
Yes,
Okay.
Monday, yeah. Did you guys also get it through the regular finance committee? Did Jim send them out to you, or did you just get them from me?
Just from you.
Okay.
No, I think in Jim's email for not for this meeting, but the 1-9 ones were.
Oh, yeah, I know he sent them out to the whole board.
To the whole committee.
I just
Not to
didn't.
the subcommittee.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
So he hasn't sent these out yet.
okay.
I haven't seen them, so.
He usually CCs me, so if he doesn't send them,
So we're not meeting till next Thursday.
Right,
Right, so he generally sends them a few days ahead.
my suggestion, gentlemen, is that we start. Evan's on his way, and he won't mind, I'm sure.
Sure.
Okay.
So, should we approve the minutes from the,
First call it to order.
call the meeting to order?
At 4:04.
4:04. So, we have the minutes from the, January 11th subcommittee meeting.
Any information missing? In the minutes? Maybe.
Probably.
January 11th, Town Hall Subcommittee meetings? Yeah.
Yes.
So go ahead, Steve.
I would say that I would take out with the following noteworthy comments, unless there are any.
Yeah, yes, that's what I was saying, the budget review. With the comments. Yeah, because we have no comments filled in. So I think the colon for me suggests that
Right.
made it seem like something was
Yeah.
missing, but I don't, yeah.
Typographical error
Okay.
by the scribe.
But I'm fine with approving the minutes as,
Amended.
as amended.
Yes. Okay, and I am also, so,
Okay, so Teray moved for it, Don second. They had an overthrow, coup d'etat.
They have the number. You're out.
No, that's fine. What did I miss?
Just the minutes from the last meeting.
I trust Steve. Famous last words.
Biggest mistake.
Yeah.
All right, so fiscal year 24, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 budgets in front of you. Kevin will go through them, or we'll handle them any way you want, Mr. Chairman, now that you are here. But I will tell you that combined, this group of budgets came in at a decrease of 1.3% over last year.
So moved.
The decrease really being in the Veteran Services budget, which we had talked about at length last year, really trying to follow the trend on veterans' benefits, which has been decreasing over the years, and I think this change does reflect that trend. But I will say this, any veteran that needs assistance gets assistance, and we have a number of bites at the apple if we find that trending changing, whether we supplement in November, whether we supplement in the spring, whether we use a reserve fund transfer in when we do the reserve fund. So again, I want it very clear, doesn't mean we're not going to help veterans in need, but things are changing, and veterans in need maybe means more training and things like that. So again, but I'm very comfortable with it. The veterans agent is comfortable with it, and we'll monitor it as we see fit, because we look at the numbers every week anyway. So, or every 2 weeks, I should say, when the warrants come out. With that, I'll turn it over to Kevin, and whatever you want to do, Mr. Chairman.
If everybody's okay with the way we did it last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to go high level, Kevin, and I'll just have any of us stop you if they have questions.
Okay, high level, vast majority of the increases are contractual negotiated increases for salary. Treasurers, that's what's going on there. A couple small decreases in expenses. Fire alarm, year-to-date expenses are up due to the warm weather in November, December. So they've kept working right through, which is now is usually like their slow time during the winter. But with all the construction going on in town, in the year-to-date cost, everything's costing more. We did bump that up a little bit. Emergency management, that's a salary increase, contractual.
Could I just ask about that,
Yep.
Kevin and Steve? We gave the director a bump in recognition of the increased workload during the pandemic, right?
Yes.
So that's holding here. So is the workload the same still?
I'm going to tell you that the personal services, I mean, there is a little bit of a bump, but the workload has increased, but it's not over the limit. I'm confused because during the pandemic, he was allowed, because he's retired, he was allowed to work. All those
that's
vets
right.
were off.
That's right.
All right, so, and that's really not
That's right.
reflected in the budget here.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah.
He's up to the limit. That increased a little bit. That question kind of threw me.
Okay, all good. Sorry.
It's funny because he just brought to me a grant, some reimbursement of some things he cobbled together for FEMA that was about $189,000. So I told him he was worth every penny.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah. All right, there, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Just your question kind of confused me, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Building department or inspectional services, the vast majority of that increase, approximately 15,000, is contractual negotiated salary increase. We did increase the books and publications. I think that was the line item we increased.
Yeah, it's like about $2,000 above the last 2-year trends. That's one thing I noted.
Yeah, that they're looking, usually every year there's updates to either the building code or electrical code, but they're expecting in fiscal '24 brand new code books.
Okay.
So they're going to need one for each inspector. Veterans, we talked about, we reduced the,
Before you jump off, building, year-to-date,
over $1 million.
$1 million in, building fees
And
Oh, yeah.
in building, yeah.
$1 million was pretty much the high bar set for a full year, and we've reached it in a half a year, so.
Oh, wow.
They're doing bang up job down there.
Yeah,
We have
and our-
a lot of projects coming.
Extremely busy. And it's not just big projects. It's a lot of, additions and things like that. Tenant fit outs. It's good. It's really good.
What's the update there? Was this the department where you'd kind of hired an additional position?
We did last year.
Training?
Yeah.
That's gonna stay the same this year?
Yep, she's still there.
But the same idea is still,
Same idea that, well, depending on what happens with the union, because it's another union position. But that would be learning the position in there, and it's actually, it's more than training because it's totally necessary because there's a line at the counter every day.
yeah, I mean, if you're doing $1 million and that is directly correlated to workload.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
I just hope, just keep,
Yeah.
because I think that was a big part of the FinCom discussion last time was keep an eye on the need for that if there is a retirement, for example, right?
Exactly. Yep. No, there's obviously a need this year and there's
Yeah.
not a retirement this year, so.
Good.
But there will be a retirement in that department of a longtime clerical person within 2 years.
I still think it's good practice, Steve. I just wanted to check in.
And is this the one that is shared as well?
No, we no longer share. We used to.
Okay,
The building, we used to share with Linfield.
that's the one we
There
stopped
is,
sharing.
yeah, there is no way in what we're doing right now, we could share with Linfield. No way. And it's only gonna get worse. I mean, there's gonna be 2 schools being built, which is gonna be the head of the lake. There's gonna be more work on Foundry Street. It's gonna be crazy.
Busy.
Thanks.
The recreation budget, that's a salary increase. Do want to point out that Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, supervisory,
Right. I was gonna bring that up.
right now, we're putting in the budget 2.5% COLA, even though we haven't settled with them.
Sure.
But, so if there are any things in addition to that, that we'd have to right-size that with an article once those contracts are settled.
So, and the revenues from the recreation had fallen off during the pandemic, is that?
They're back up to where they were. The director's salary, which is this approximately 120,000. We take money from the revolving fund. We take his salary out of the revolving fund, deposit it into the general fund revenue. So we cover his salary. We appropriate it, but then we tap into the revolving account and put it back into the general fund. So there is zero net effect. The balance of the recreation is funded through the revolving account.
Okay,
And right now, there's like a $40,000 balance in that account.
But we usually collect around 500 grand a year.
Right.
Fees. A lot of that goes to the programs, obviously. But I tell you that from what I'm hearing from people that take advantage of it, it's just really skyrocketed. And when COVID stopped, they were like, it was like a bomb went off, get these kids out of the house, get them in there.
Cool.
Yeah. And one of the most, and I hear this from people, is pickleball, the indoor pickleball during the week at the Civic Center is like crazy busy. And it's dead time and it's,
With young kids?
no, it's older. It's retirees during the winter.
Oh, no kidding.
And it's like, $5-10 a head.
Yeah.
And they're just busy, busy, busy.
Cool.
Now that I'm getting close to the retirement years, I have friends that go and they say, Steve, this is packed. We need another spot.
Cool.
So it's interesting.
Next four budgets: streetlights, historical commission, unemployment reserve fund, all level funded from the previous year's amounts.
Yeah, and unemployment that I say this every year, because we're a municipality, we pay as we go. We pay for our unemployment expenses. A business would pay a percentage of payroll, which thank God we don't, because that would be a huge amount of money. And we don't have the layoffs that the private sector has either. So,
We'll point out on the reserve fund, there are two currently that I know of. The retirement that we had in the town clerk's office and the additional hours for conservation.
yeah,
Police and fire, still looking at those numbers, but
I imagine we'll be back for a little bit though.
we will probably be looking
Yeah, I
for
mean, it's
something.
really too soon to tell at this
Well-
point, so, right? I mean, I'm sure you can tell some things, but,
Yeah.
but just looking at 22 versus the appropriation isn't really an accurate reflection of what the purpose of this
Yeah.
budget is, right? So, okay.
And then the final budget is the professional medical, which is used to new employee physicals, back to work physicals, such. Those costs have gone up from the provider. So that it shows a small increase there of a couple $1,000 or $1,650.
Psychological tests as well for
Police
certain
and fire, yeah.
hires.
So in total, for this group, the big one being the decrease in veterans, the overall decrease of these 11 is 24,844.
And on the decrease in the veterans, let me see if so what was how did we determine the amount to decrease it by?
So if you look at the year-to-date spent, I think it's like 44,000. So that's through 6 months. We usually make one payment each month to the veterans in need. So if you double that for the next 6 months, we're up to 88, 90,000. So there is a little bit of a cushion there.
Yeah, 30,000.
Yeah.
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 I think makes sense. I think we talked about if we're going to be decreasing some components of this budget, it'd be incremental over time because we're trying to figure out the trends.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And looking at the numbers, we're at like between 12 and 14 recipients per month. So those numbers can fluctuate a little bit. The last month I saw it was up like almost $1,000 over the previous month. So there is, is the need getting more? I don't know, but there's that cushion in there that.
And we do get a direct a reimbursement on the cherry sheet for veteran services.
And usually it runs about 75% of what we've expended for the recipients.
Right.
There was, the veterans agent was looking at last year, because I know this came up in FinCom last year, that chapter, whatever the benefits.
115.
115, that trend line had been decreasing steadily, so this makes sense to me. I'm also comfortable with the buffer, especially if the veterans agent is really focusing effort.
It looks like there's been a little bit more of an outreach this year. It's come up a little bit, over the last.
Yeah, because I do think that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, a lot of these folks may not know what they're entitled to, so.
And they're doing a lot more of events, kind of getting back on the map, so to speak. So they did a nice event at what's Phil Ramos now, the dockside.
Yeah.
that they invited me to, that they had a lot of the region there.
Nice.
And the people were very appreciative and, telling them about the other vets. So there's been more of that sort of outreach going on, which is nice. Yeah.
That's good. I think it's great. I would, when she comes into us, it's probably a good thing to highlight for her if she wants to, just because it was a conversation last year.
Well, Karen Burke, our Veterans Agent from last year, is now our Council of Aging Director.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So that might be a different mission now, yeah.
She was another poach from Melrose. Shh, sorry, that's on the tape. But
Don't tell Paul, huh?
So with the first couple groups of budgets, Steve and I decided that, to streamline it more, it would just be he and I that would present, that the department heads wouldn't be there with the exception of the bigger departments. They'll be coming up later.
Fine with me.
I think it's fine as long as. Yeah, I mean,
they're
look,
welcome to come if they want to.
of course, well. I know what I do, but
They do go before the council?
Actually, this first round, they did not.
They did not.
On the second round, the council has asked to have the recreation director there, really just to have a victory lap for him. Because they're very happy with,
Does
that's
Dan know that?
yes.
Okay.
On Monday. They really like a lot of the programs going on and, so. Other than that, there is, they didn't really ask for anybody else, or at least the chair didn't. So. But we can always bring them in if we need to.
okay. Do we have anything do we want to revisit the assessor thing, or is that, I don't know if that's specifically in the agenda. I don't even know if we can.
No, committee comments, you could revisit it if you want.
I think I've said what I need to say about that probably, but if there's anything that, if you folks want to discuss it, I just thought it was good for Dawn.
Did y'all get the memo, right?
I did,
We got the memo, yeah.
yes. Yeah, and the only comment that the feedback I have on the memo is that clearly, you describe all the board meetings and everything that Victor's going to have to attend. And, so there is a significant amount of work that he's going to be responsible for. My only thought is, if it gets to be too much for him, or maybe that's not even the right way to say it, is it structured in such a way that he has somewhere in the organization, in one department or another, somebody that's a deputy that can be learning the job and help him,
Yeah,
fill in for him or.
in both
support
in
him.
Wakefield and in Reading, there is a support staff that can handle a lot of the day-to-day stuff.
Right.
If they needed to. As far as tax classification hearings are concerned, I am not so sure that in either other community that the staff could do it at this point in time, but that's a good point. He should be teaching them how to do it a little bit. I'm not sure. I think you and I could do some of it if we needed to step in. But that is something, and I think candidly, I end this, that, and we talked about this before, and Victor and I, that if he feels that it is too much, there's a 30-day out.
Right.
So we can go that. But, and I like this approach better because I can be, we're part of a team. Because, and I'm thinking about it, if I am an assessor in any community, and there's no rule that you couldn't get a second job. If you got a second job with another community and did it, you could, and probably make more than, we're pulling all together. I just got an article from the chief assessor for Andover, up to 135. So I don't feel the cost for 3 communities is bad. I think it works really well for us. So, but I'm monitoring this. I see Victor probably every morning because he's usually here around, 7:30 when I get in and we chat. So, yeah. you know, it's not only 3 boards, 3 tax classifications, it's 3 different community values, so to speak,
Dynamics, yeah.
dynamics. It's also going on the inspections, the abatement inspections to people's houses. So there's a lot involved here, and it is, I think that if anybody could do it, he can. And if we find out in June of this year, that it's been too much because he was helping out Linfield in July. It wasn't part of our thing, but he was helping out in July. Then we'll reassess. So,
Yeah, so I think, you know, what I'm trying to look at is there a way to structure, now that you've got 3 communities, structure it so that he has sort of a team and somebody that he can grow to take on
Yeah.
some of these responsibilities.
I think in Wakefield and Reading, absolutely. I think Linfield's going to take a little bit time to move up,
Yeah,
frankly.
so.
Yeah.
So the other
Yeah.
comment I had was that it's 3 different software systems.
Yeah.
That-
Yes.
God.
So, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's.
Wakefield and Reading is pretty similar. Linfield has got to be brought up into, you know, go from abacus to calculator.
I think.
This is being recorded. I don't care.
Just got an advocate for my son.
Yeah. See, he can help.
Yeah. He'll learn- Yes, he can learn counting,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not working yet, but
Yeah, but at least it does the.
yeah, he's
the-
trying. We'll
The
see.
movement and the
Yep.
tactile function. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess
And
my,
I understand where you're coming from. Don. I
so,
agree.
you know, I'm saying, okay, do we
Yeah.
structure this to manage
Yeah.
it better
Yeah.
moving forward? Versus, you know, if we get a bump in the road, it's an easy 30-day out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's,
Yeah. I think that, you know, that 30-day out is there if really it just wasn't going to work. You have a community, you know, that maybe the dynamics are completely different, the culture is different, and you just can't melt.
yeah,
Yeah.
But I do think that, I think it's point well taken. I think that we have, be something that for me and the other managers to talk about, because, you know, it is good for all 3 communities from a cost sharing aspect. That may not always be there, you know?
yeah,
So that's something that they should, I talk a lot with my board about succession planning and, you
Yep.
know, building that team from within. And that's a good point that we should do that on a regional approach there to make sure each community has it. So, thank you. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, my thing on that is I think it's all well intended. I said to you the other day, Steve, I kind of remain unconvinced that we can't accomplish the same goals with a lower number, right? Like we want to show the employees valued, we want to recognize the increased workload. I don't have any further data on that, so I won't bother you with it tonight, but that is sort of where I'm sitting is like, does it have to be that number? Does it have to be that high? But
Well, it also.
because I think that's what drew the attention of the full committee, frankly.
Right, no, I'm sure it did, but it also needs to be something that, why would you do it if you weren't gonna get?
Yeah, no, it's gotta be the right, it's gotta be enough. I hear you. So, and I have no argument to make that it's, you know, I have no data-based argument to make that it's too much. So,
To
but
me, the 3 different communities, I see it almost as 3 distinct jobs. I think the committee was seeing it as like, let's say if the city of Boston, but you have one
Right.
dynamic to do.
Right.
You have 3 different boards, you have essentially like, I understand like from an hour's perspective, it's not gonna be the same, but you have essentially 3 roles in one. And to me, that compensation level is not unreasonable for holding those 3 roles. I do share the same concern that Don has outlined that, you know, we got to be mindful of, you know, the potential of being essentially overburdened. But I do think that, you know, it's like, why not try it? The 3 communities are benefiting from it. You know, we each share in a portion of the compensation. I think part of the reaction also too is that it was seen as a significant increase, but I think we added a town. So
Right,
for
exactly.
me, it was like, that's probably why I didn't say anything last week, because I was like, I also have a labor relations background. So part of it, I'm like, this seems reasonable from what I see. So I just wanted to share that.
And I will say that another thing that we do is we do, at least in our area around here, we have a very strong fellowship among the different town managers and mayors in the area. And the third community that we added was desperate. They were drowning, and
Yeah.
so we decided that they came hat in hand and probably are, more than their share when you look at properties and things like that, but they were desperate, so. But again, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, anything further? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved. Oh, I give him motion to you. Okay, I guess a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody. What do we got for time here?
It's another one with good pace.
31, good deal.
Wow.
Yeah, man,
25.
So I will tell you now, let's leave.